This video is just going to be testing how high does fall damage actually occur, and this little intro is just going to show you how I'm going to be doing these tests. So with that in mind, let's get started. I'm going to remove my broken and sprained legs by blowing myself up, and then we will be testing with no armor, no nothing, and 60 wellness. So let's get started. Now for these tests here, I'll show you a little snippet of my graph paper. So the title, how high the blocks are, how much damage, n equals none, and was it nothing happened, did a sprain happen, or did my leg break? And these are the tests by numbers for each one. I decided to do 6 tests for each height, and they'll be going up by 1 block each, and I've made these little walls here to show you how high it is so you can count it. And the reason I'm doing multiple tests is because I found that sometimes it changed. So here we go. This is 3 blocks high, and like you expected, nothing happened. That was test number 1, 2, and I'm sure I don't need to show you the rest of these as I doubt any damage will occur. Alright, so I just did 6 tests for 3 blocks and nothing happened. Now it's time for 4 blocks. Let's see if this makes a difference. Nothing. And nothing. And nothing. I'm sure we can all guess what's going to happen for the rest. Alright, now it's for 5 blocks. And nothing happened for all 6 tests with 4 blocks. So let's see how 5 blocks goes. Nothing. A little bit more velocity that time. And nothing. And still nothing. I'm pretty sure nothing's going to happen for the next 3 tests, but I will let you know the results. Alright, so with the last test there, all 6 results were nothing. Now, here's 6 blocks. Surely, something should happen here. Oh, there we go. 10 damage and a sprained leg. And here's test number 2. So we got 10 damage and no sprain. So I can just heal and I'll be back to normal. Here's test number 3. Nothing. And test number 4. Nothing. And 5. Nothing again. And finally test number 6. That was a sprain and 10 damage. So 6 blocks seems to randomly be nothing or a sprain. And here is 7 blocks. Let's see what happens. So that was 10 damage and a sprain. And test number 2 for 7 blocks. 10 damage and a sprain. So it seems like this is going to be the same for the rest of them, and I will let you know the results. I should have recorded it, but I wasn't So the fourth test was 10 damage and no sprain. So again, it seems like it's kind of random. Alright, from here on out I'm going to be recording every test, and I've changed my layout on the graph paper there slightly. I just added the whether or not it was a sprain or break or nothing right below the damage, just to make things easier. So here's test number 5. So that was 10 damage and a sprain. And test number 6. The exact same thing. Alright, so I'm going to blow myself up, and then it will be on for 8 blocks. Alright, so I'm going to put down this wood frame to show where I am so I remember, and I don't have to count it out every single time. So there's 8 blocks of height on this structure here. Time for test number 1. So that was 20 damage and a sprain. Okay, and here is test number 2 for 8 blocks. Same thing as before. Alright, it may get a little loud in the recordings, but that is okay. I'm still going to continue on with the tests. So, test number 8. Block height 8, test number 3. Same thing. And test number 4 for 8 blocks. And again, it's the same thing. I don't know why it was varying when I was testing it earlier. And test number 5. Oh, this time it was only 10 damage, but still a sprained leg. Alright, now if you're curious where all my blocks went, I was curious as to how high I could get these bags to stack up. So, anyways, test number 6, block height of 8. $20 damage and a sprained leg again. Alright, so that concludes this one. Now it's on to 9 blocks. So I'm just moving my wood frame, and this is 9 blocks high. Test number 1. 20 damage and a sprained leg. And test number 2. Same thing. Okay, now it's time for 10 blocks. Here's test number 1. A little bit of leggage. First break, 30 damage. And test number 2 at 10 blocks, which is really, really high, by the way. I'm on the 2nd level of one of these buildings, pretty much. 30 damage and nothing. That's interesting. I was about to blow myself up, and then I realized I could just heal. Alrighty. So, test number 3. 30 damage and nothing. Okay, and here's test 4. 25 damage. No, that was 30. Because I was healing, that's why. That makes sense now. Alright, so it's 30 damage and a broken leg. So, here is test number 5. 20 damage and a broken leg. So, here's test number 6. Broken leg and 30 damage. So since I'm not sure about test number 4, I'm just going to do one extra test on 10 blocks here. So this will be test number 7. 30 damage, nothing. Okay, so I set up my wood frame. And now it's time to test 11 blocks. Wait for my first aid to go away, and here we go. Wow, 30 damage and nothing. Okay, this is test number 2 for 11 blocks. Alright, so 30 damage and nothing. Alright, here's test number 3 for 11 blocks. There we go, 30 damage and a broken leg. Now it's time for test number 4. 11 blocks. 30 damage, nothing. Okay, now it's time for test number 5. Wow, 30 damage and nothing again. So it seems the farther away you go from it, that's when you break your leg or sprain your leg. I'll test that theory right quickly here after I blow myself up. So that was 30 damage and a broken leg. Alright, and now it's the bonus test for 11 blocks. I'm not going to fall as far away. I'm just going to see if this will not break my leg while holding a first aid kit. No, doesn't seem to matter. It's just random. So 30 damage and a broken leg. And the results seem to be pretty consistent, but I'm going to build 12 blocks up, and I'm guessing it's going to be 40 damage and break or no break. Something like that. We shall find out. Okay, so here's the last test that I'm going to do. It's going to be 12 blocks high. And so, here we go. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We are effectively 1 block higher than that one. Let's see what happens. I'm guessing 40 damage and break or no break. Or 30 damage. Interesting. Okay, so I thought that was going to be the last test because I thought that it was going to be 40 damage. I'm just going to do one more just to confirm that 12 blocks is 30 damage. Yeah, it's 30 damage. So let's see what we've got here. Broken leg seems to be 3 days, but it instantly goes down to 2.9. Does it give me any more information? Yeah, 3 days. Yeah, it doesn't give me anything else. So, yeah, that was the fall damage from height. The next thing I'm going to be doing is testing whether or not the material matters. Now, I know that dirt will, and stone will be more than dirt, from what I think, anyways. So, I will test a number of materials on 7 blocks. That one was the most consistent. That was 10 damage across the board with sprains, except for one of them. And I think the reason why the damage varies sometimes is I think your character gets stuck on a block or something like that, and it registers the height at whatever your character got stuck on. Now, this doesn't explain why running down staircases really fast breaks your leg. I think it's just a glitch, and it has to do with the velocity that your character is traveling. I'm not sure, but this is just a nice little gauge of how high you can jump from. You seem to be safe from 5 blocks and under. So, with that in mind, let's get started on materials. Alright, So now that we got some pretty consistent results from the falling tests, now it's time to do some material tests. And so I chose dirt, stone, brick, concrete, scrap metal piles, steel walls, and wood. I actually forgot that I had one extra. That's why that last one's not in order. But so I chose 9 blocks instead, as it does 20 damage and sprains all the time, as it would seem. And that way it can kind of give it some leeway to go either up or down. So, because at 10 blocks it does 30, and 8 still does 20, and 7 does 10. So, let's see if any of these do more or less damage. So I set up my paper for 5 tests, but I don't know if I'm going to be doing that, as the other results seem to be pretty consistent. So I might do like 2 or 3, maybe even 1, I'm not sure. We'll see how it goes. So test number 1 for dirt. That was 20 damage and a sprained leg. And I just wanted to show the sprained leg lasts for 2.4 game hours and a break lasts for 3 days. So that's quite a big difference, actually. Alright, now it's time for test number 2 on dirt. Actually, I'll just show you that this is indeed 9. So 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. So yeah, one more test here, and then I'll move on. Still 20 damage, and still a sprain. Alright, test number 1 for stone. 20 damage and a sprained leg. And test number 2 for stone. 20 damage and no sprain. And test number 1 for brick. 20 damage and a sprained leg. So from what I can see here, it does not appear like material makes a difference, but I will continue on just for the sake of completionness. Okay, and test number 2 for brick. 20 damage, no sprain. Okay, test number 1 for reinforced concrete. 20 damage and a sprained leg. And test number 2 for reinforced concrete. The exact same thing. Okay, and test number 1 for scrap metal pile. Same thing. And test number 2 for the scrap metal pile. Same thing. Now test number 1 for the steel wall. Exact same thing. So it's not looking good for different materials. And test number 2 for steel wall. The exact same thing. Alright, here's test number 1 for wood. Same thing. And test number 2 for wood. The exact same thing. And just because I felt like trying it out, I figured I would try out bedrock as well. So, test number 1 for bedrock. 20 damage, no sprain. Okay, and test number 2 for bedrock. The final test I will be doing today. 20 damage and a sprain. So unfortunately, it seems like material doesn't matter at all. Mind you, that means you can place whatever you want at the bottom of a pit if that's your kind of defense that you're going for. One more thing I forgot to mention was, yes, other materials may not increase nor decrease your fall damage. However, hay bales seems to be the only material where you can fall from any height and it will be fine. And I can prove that again if you want, but I'm pretty sure I stated it clearly in some other videos. Alright, so we have a single block of hay. I'm going to go to the top of the map. It's a long way. The only reason I know that I am going up is there's a little pillar that's moving that I built trying to get my bags to the top of the map. However, that did not work, unfortunately. I have no idea how far I am. I can just barely see it. Oh, yo, I went way above. So yeah, I'm farther than you can go. Alright, let's see how this works. 1 hay bale, and I've got 14 health. Surely, if any damage happened, I would be dead. So, let's witness the drop. There's that. That's as high as you can build. Oh my goodness. So yeah, this is the only material that changes fall damage. So, I hope this helped you out. If it did, press that like button, and if you liked the video, do the same. And subscribe for more awesome tutorials daily. Bye bye.